Throughout human history, there have been wars, plagues, and disasters, but there was one period that historians consider the darkest of all. It did not begin with explosions, armies, or a single dramatic day. In the year 536, the world simply began to die. People woke up in the morning and stepped outside expecting to see the summer sun, but instead they were met with a gray, cold light that barely warmed the air. Day no longer felt like day. The sun hung in the sky like a pale stain, as if covered by ash, and this continued for more than a year. No one understood what was happening, and no one could explain it. Summer never arrived. Across different parts of the planet, the same events unfolded, even though people had no idea what was happening elsewhere. In China, snow fell in the middle of summer. In the Middle East, crops failed. In Europe, frost was recorded in June and August. Harvests died before they could ripen. Fields that had fed generations became useless. Famine began almost immediately, slow, exhausting, and merciless. People ate whatever they could find: tree bark, roots, carrion, and sometimes things that historical records prefer not to describe directly. Entire villages disappeared, not because of war or disease, but because there was simply no one left alive. Cities began to empty. Trade routes that had connected regions and empires collapsed because there was nothing left to transport. Economies fell apart, authority weakened, and states that had once seemed powerful began to fracture. People abandoned their homes and wandered into the unknown, hoping to find somewhere they could survive. But such places were rare. Fear spread across the world because no one knew the cause of what was happening. To the people of that time, it looked like divine punishment or the end of the world. The chronicles of this era are filled with despair. They describe a sun without warmth, endless cold, and the complete absence of hope. People prayed, repented, and prepared for death, convinced that the world would never return to what it had been. In many ways, they were right. This crisis pushed humanity back decades. Progress stopped, culture declined, and recovery took far longer than the catastrophe itself. But the worst was still to come. A population weakened by hunger and cold became defenseless against a new threat. In the 540s, the Justinian plague began, one of the deadliest pandemics in history. It spread rapidly and killed tens of millions of people. Those who had survived the years of cold and famine now died from disease, with no strength left to resist. It was the final blow to a world already on the edge of collapse. Only centuries later were scientists able to reconstruct what had happened. The catastrophe was caused by a massive volcanic eruption, likely in the northern hemisphere. Enormous amounts of ash and aerosols were thrown into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and triggering a global climate shift. Temperatures dropped, weather patterns collapsed, and the familiar world disappeared within months. The year 536 was not the end of humanity, but it became a warning of how fragile civilization truly is. It showed that when sunlight, warmth, and harvests vanish, no society is prepared to survive. Even today, with modern technology and scientific knowledge, such a scenario would challenge the entire world. That is why historians call the year 536 the worst year in human history, the year when nature, without warning, showed who truly controls the fate of the planet.